If you'd like to see more of our videos, hit the subscribe button to stay on top of the market news. Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Fred Razek at CMtrading. Today is July 6, 2020, and today is Monday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, the NASDAQ pushes us to all-time new record highs once again. But before we get into that, let's look at the economic events of the day. So just one event coming out later this afternoon out of the United States, ISM non-manufacturing PMI number coming out. Now, I do want to highlight the fact that this is coming out, and this is really the only number this week, okay? But looking at the markets are kind of rotating once again. Looking at the currencies, the major pairs gain versus the US dollar as if the markets push higher. Now, as we spoke about it before, NASDAQ pushes to markets higher and to all-time record highs. That's really on the FANG stocks. We'll get to that in just a second. But looking at the commodities, which is very interesting, gold and oil are both currently very steady. Okay, I want you guys to keep an eye on gold because it has been flirting with its upper limit, okay, despite the fact that the markets are really very high, okay? But if it doesn't break out higher, it may retrace, but we're going to take a look at that as well. And lastly, looking at the stocks, the FANG stocks remain the market leaders pushing the markets higher, plus Microsoft, okay? But let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So it's kind of choppy trading here, but it still follows through. Okay, we're looking here at the Euro USD at a 1 hour chart, and we rallied up to our resistance-ish level. Okay, so this is a bona fide resistance-ish level, a little bit of a active Friday, okay, as we went into the weekend, okay, and hitting this area. Now, I just want to make a couple of points here, okay? If we don't get this follow through, if we don't push higher later today, we will make an about face and possibly make a correction later today, okay? You got to keep an eye on this, as this does have that potential to really correct itself. Looking at the GBP USD, same story, but not as strong as the Euro. Interesting enough, we hit the resistance-ish level on the Euro, but we haven't hit it on the GBP. Now, looking at the USD ZAR, okay, now the Rand has gotten stronger over the past couple of days. We hit that trend line last week, okay, and didn't break above it, and I mentioned it, and I said if it doesn't push higher, we will make that retracement. And sure enough, from 1733, we're down to 1693 versus the USD. Now, this is a minor support level at this area, this 1690-ish level, okay? So if it does break it, we could definitely see it back into the 1645, which would put us in somewhat normalized area, okay, versus the US dollar, as this has not made a comeback since the pandemic started, okay, since we had this massive rally versus the Rand. Now, looking at the commodities, this is really very interesting. We're looking at gold trading at 1775. Now, it's hugging its upper limit here, okay, but not breaking out higher, all right? So one or two things could potentially happen if the indices just in general, the Dow, the NASDAQ, the S&P 500 continue going higher, then we'll see a correction in gold, okay? It's bound to happen. However, if we do get a correction in the NASDAQ, in the Dow Jones, then this potentially could go to 1800, okay? So just keep in mind and have this on your radar, because it's not going to all happen at the same time. It's going to be a little bit of either this going first, the indices selling off first, and then the gold actually perking up, okay? So it's something to keep in mind as today unfolds. Now, looking at oil, we're trading at this 1456-ish area, also hugging our upper limit, but what the difference is this time is that we've got a little bit of a follow through here. We've got actual bona fide buying going in and going out, whereas in the previous times we only hit what's called the wick, which is really just extremity moves, okay? So this does look a little bit stronger. So this actually may maintain ourselves above $40 a barrel and may break out later on this week. So something to keep an eye out for the week. Now, looking at the Dow Jones this morning, we're trading at 26,100-ish level, hitting close to that previous resistance-ish level as well. Now, again, what I like about this more than what I liked about the previous times that we hit these areas is that it's with a massive bar. Okay, so I do expect some sort of follow through. Okay, however, if we don't get the follow through, 26,178 is my resistance-ish area. Okay, now I don't like to short things when other markets are making all-time highs, namely the NASDAQ. Okay, NASDAQ rallied to 10,400 496 points last week, almost hitting that 500-ish level and then perking further down. Now, we're only 20 points of our all-time highs, okay? And this is happening, number one, in the summer, number two, during the pandemic, okay? So I do imagine that this will break out higher, okay? But it's really got to be carried by the stocks. It's going to be one of the FANG stocks, either the Facebook, the Apple, the Amazon. So let's look at them. Apple actually gave up last week, okay, to 363, giving up that gain into the weekend. Amazon pushed higher, but then made it about face. So yes, it does become a little bit, I would say, a little bit hesitant when these things push higher and then sell off, okay? But the way to trade these is to buy the pullbacks and keep a very tight stop loss, okay? That's really the only way to trade these as they're moving out higher. Now, looking at Microsoft, it gave it up at 207, okay, and retracing about $2. But again, the markets this morning are high and they're up, so I do expect a little bit of a follow through, at least at the beginning of the day, but I'd like to see that carry out further, okay? So keep that in mind as we go into this week, but also keep in mind that we may correct ourselves because this may be an opportunity for people to take their profits. This is Fred Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.